Fast processing, hey? To be this good takes ages. Psst, that's Sega backwards. And Sega does what Nintendo don't. Marketing words aside, there was a fierce competition between Sega and Nintendo. While Nintendo ended up winning in America, that was not at all true for most of you. As I said before, and I'll repeat ad nauseum, I was a Sega kid. Mega Drive, Dreamcast, and never owned a Saturn. It didn't take ages to make a Sega kid out of me. Then the fanboys cry that Super Nintendo is superior in pretty much every way. And yes, without add-ons to Mega Drive or Genesis, Fuse and falls a little bit behind. But that don't mean did we squat. Not when Sega struck out deals, and the team supporting the games had more experience with that hardware. Sega was the cool kid, the one with attitude. And sir, some might say they were only sports games, but I'll prove them wrong. Don't mind if I do. So, without further ado, I bring you the top 5 Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games that were better on the Mega Drive. That stands is for you Americans. 5. The Lion King. Virgin Software, the studio that produced The Lion King, as well as a couple other Disney titles for the Genesis and the SNES, primarily work on Mega Drive titles. They held a close relationship with Sega, which allowed them to maximize their efforts to the hardware. Now, while the Super Nintendo version does have better sound due to the technical capabilities of the system, with what resembles vocals, there's something to be said about the Mega Drive slash Genesis version. It runs smoother, the graphics are clearer, and it controls better. Having played both versions, I can safely say that the Mega Drive version is superior. They are, however, pretty much the same game in both systems, with minor visual differences, so if you can't get a hold of a Genesis version, you shouldn't worry too much. Number 4. Mortal Kombat. The classic example that is given by many, the hurling stone that Sega kids had over Nintendo kids in the playground. While a game like Super Street Fighter 2 saw little to no difference in versions and parts, at least with regards to the original version, as the re-releases of Super Nintendo versions kept piling on, that was not the case for Mortal Kombat. The heavily digitized game was notorious for its gory finishing moves and animations. In the arcades, they were greatly anticipated in the home consoles. But, to gamers' delight on Sega hardware and shock in Nintendo's hardware, they had removed all blood and gore from the Nintendo version. Now, Sega still walked the blood beyond a code. But I think every Sega kid had a little strip of paper with the code A, B, A, C, A, B, B. I can still recite it by memory. I got that right. I did, didn't I? Good. Number 3. Earthworm Jim. This one has a pretty interesting story, and it's another example of rivalries between Sega and Nintendo. Simply put, Sega screwed Nintendo over. They offered a discount in cart price to the publishers if they were to add an extra level or two to the Mega Drive version, which they did. They were quickly designed and programmed, but the fact still remains you get more bang for your buck with the Sega version. Though really, both parts are great. Earthworm Jim, in my opinion too, is one of the games where the tongue of the Genesis really comes to its aid. It's got a hell of a soundtrack. But speaking of longer games on the Mega Drive, number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyper Sound Heist. The Mutant Hero Turtles. What's that? You've never heard of the Hero Turtles? That's what they were called in the UK, after someone decided ninjas was too violent. We gotta protect the kiddies. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were everywhere in the 90s. They had a hit TV show, toys, games, they had their own concert, and they're still going to this day, though admittedly reboots behind with this game. The Adventures of the Turtles, with names of Renaissance Masters, as a beat 'em up produced by Konami, based on the arcade game for consoles, was split into two different games. Turtles in Time was the Super Nintendo one, but I grew up with Hyper Sun Heist. Now, while Turtles in Time has more stages in total, they're shorter. So, in a direct comparison, Hyper Sun Heist runs slightly longer. It also has better graphics, At least in my opinion. Though that may be subjective. And again, that soundtrack, I can still hum it in my head. Number 1. Aladdin. Now, this is a bit of a cheat. Virgin Software of Lion King fame produced the Genesis version of Aladdin, while Capcom produced the Super Nintendo version. Despite how great the Capcom version is, because, well, it's Capcom in the 90s, I've got to hand the point to Sega on this one. And not just because the sprites were drawn by Disney animators in a revolutionary new process for the game, giving it that authentic feel and edge over the competition. So it should go without saying that the graphics are top notch. Top notch. But also because of the kind of gameplay. While platforming would suit a tip like Aladdin better, I just find everything about the game fun. There's a reason why this is the most sought out game on the Genesis/Mega Drive after Sonic 1 and 2. It's just fun. Those are just my silly personal opinions. If you disagree, that's fine. I'm not a Nintendo hater by any means. I'm open to debate. If you want to leave games on the Super Nintendo which were better parts, please do so. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again later.